Democrats. Today is Friday, January 20th. It's time for the Chair's Daily Live. Happy Friday. So today is Friday, January 20th. And we are at a point where we're marking the anniversary of the Biden-Harris administration's inauguration. It's been 2 years since President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris were inaugurated. And there's been a lot of things that's happened in this last 2 years. You guys know I like to talk local, but sometimes I need to reach out onto the national stage to give myself some calm because there's some crazy stuff that's happening in our state, but we are part of a nation, regardless of what some of our legislators believe. We are part of a nation that in the last 2 years has had record job growth. We have unemployment that matches a 50-year low. And that's because of our current president. A record number of Americans have access to health insurance, not just access, but they actually have access. We've lowered healthcare premiums, lowered prescription drug costs, all while reducing the deficit. So it's not the tax and spend that they're trying to tell you. We're actually reducing the deficit, which is going to come into play as we start talking about the debt ceiling and all of that kind of stuff. We're building more things in America than we have in quite a long time. The infrastructure bill plan allowed for providing clean drinking water, expanding high-speed internet, fixing roads and bridges, student loan relief, a bipartisan bill to reduce gun violence, and rebuilding our global coalition. All of this has happened in 2 years. In 2 years. Meanwhile, back in Oklahoma, and this is why I need to touch base every once in a while what's going on a national level, because if I just focus on the state, it'll drive me crazy. Currently, we have a senator out of Durant, Oklahoma, who wants to take Oklahoma back to 1934 family decency ratings. Now, this senator is a Republican, and I mention that because all my life I've heard about how the Republican Party is the small government party. All my adult life, since I've been aware, I know that that's not true. Not only do they always expand the government, expand what the government's responsible for, but they also expand their interference in how we live our lives, how we express ourselves, trying to legislate, how folks identify. If someone tells you who they are, if someone tells you who they are in their essence, it's not for legislators to undo that. It's not for legislators to decide that that's not okay. But right now, Senator Bullard is championing a bill that's banning lewd and obscene shows, acts, concerts, and parades. So when I heard lewd and obscene, my first question was, who gets to define what lewd and obscene is? Who gets to decide? And then I thought, okay, what is it that they're after? Well, I mean, if their recent rhetoric can be believed, it's drag shows, it's pride parades. So let me tell you this. I don't remember the last time I went to a drag show. I'm not kink shaming. You go to a drag show, that's on you. Go, have your fun, do what you want to do. But here's the thing. To go to a drag show, you have to make plans, you have to pay an entry fee, and you have to go. To go to a pride parade is not marching down my street. I have to go, I have to find out when it is, go, find parking, and then also get me a good spot on the street. It doesn't just happen. All of these things are optional. But that's who he's targeting. But who's going to be affected, right? Because the definition is banning lewd and obscene shows, acts, concerts, and parades. Madonna is coming to Oklahoma. She just announced it last week, I think. Madonna is coming to Oklahoma on her world tour. Madonna is provocative, right? So will she be allowed, or will it be back in the 1950s where they had folks standing on the outsides and arresting people off stage because of their behavior? Is that what we want to do? Because if that's what we want to do, we will reduce the shows, the concerts that come to Oklahoma. Same thing with plays. Chicago is a classic. It's a classic. But it's campy, but there is simulated sex in Chicago. Does that mean that even classics like Chicago can't come to Oklahoma without folks being arrested off the stage? Let me tell you this about the Madonna show. Let me tell you this about Chicago. You don't accidentally see those shows. You have to make plans, buy tickets that are not cheap, pay for parking, and get there. What are we controlling? Are we controlling what I get to decide is entertainment for me? Is the government actually going to tell me what concerts I can go to? We start doing that, we go down a road of folks not bringing their concerts here. Thus, our concert venues are undersold and tickets are more expensive, and it gets around that they shouldn't come here. Just last year, California suggested to folks making films, don't come to Oklahoma. Today, more than ever, you have a responsibility to take stock of your values and those of your employees when doing business in states. And they're saying, hey, don't go to Oklahoma. Their values are way too strict. Oklahoma is trying to ban everything LGBTQ. He wasn't talking about this ban, but we're on the radar where states are saying, I just don't know if you need to go to Oklahoma because, as T. Sheree Dickerson said, the morality police is alive and well and in full effect in Oklahoma. You know, when I first heard about this, I pictured Ricky and Lucy Ricardo on the Lucy show in their separate beds, and she somehow got pregnant and had a baby because of the Hays Code that said we couldn't have a married couple sharing a bed on TV. Is that where we are? Is that where Senator Bullard is trying to drag us back to? It's really simple. If you don't want your kids going to drag shows, don't take them to drag shows. You don't want to see what happens at a pride parade, don't go to a pride parade. But why legislate to tell other people that they can't? It's going to end up affecting the revenue that Oklahoma generates. Oklahoma, for the last 3 years, I've heard this governor, lieutenant governor, brag about the budding filming industry in Oklahoma. When Tulsa King was being filmed in Oklahoma, everybody was thrilled. Everybody was all excited because it brings money and notoriety to our state. I watched the pilot episode of Tulsa King because I'm from Tulsa. In the first episode, there's a scene where they're at a strip club. If this bill were made into law, does that mean that scene can't be filmed in Tulsa or can't be filmed in Oklahoma? And so Tulsa King now becomes St. Louis King, now becomes Austin King because they will allow them to film it. That is a slippery road that we're going down, all because the Oklahoma Republican Party is focused on culture wars. The Oklahoma Republican Party is focused on trying to tell you and me how to live our lives. We're adults and we can make the choice. And if you have children, it's really pretty simple. It really is. It's not that hard. Decide where your kids can go in your family. You and whoever makes up your family, decide where your kids can go. If you don't want your kids going to drag shows, don't take them, and make sure they understand. You don't want your kids at the pride parade, don't take them. You don't accidentally end up at the pride parade. You don't accidentally end up accidentally end up at a drag show or at a strip club or at the Madonna concert. You don't actually accidentally end up at those places, but those places are being targeted. I don't know, just so he can have the conversation about the culture war. But in the end, it will negatively affect revenue in our state. I'm kind of proud that Killers of the Flower Moon was filmed right here in Oklahoma, and that Stillwater was filmed right here in Oklahoma, and that Tulsa King is being filmed right here in Oklahoma. But if we leave it to Senator Bullard, all of that ends. All of that ends. We need to focus on things that improve the lives of Oklahomans. Expanding access to healthcare and stopping hospitals from closing or laying off folks. Making sure that we fully fund public education. And making sure that here at a state level, that folks have an opportunity for jobs that pay a living wage. I talked earlier this week about how only 40% of Oklahomans make enough to afford a 2-bedroom apartment. Those are things that we can focus on. We have counties in Oklahoma that have equal to or worse water than Flint and Jackson, Mississippi. No one's talking about that. Those are the things that we need to be focusing on, to focus on improving the lives of Oklahomans. Trying to decide who can go to a drag show and who can go to a pride parade. Are you kidding me? Senator Bullard, I'm asking you to focus on doing the things that you are elected to do, and that's improve the lives of Oklahomans. Make sure that we have access to economic opportunity, access to affordable health care, and a fully funded public education as promised in the Oklahoma Constitution. That's what we need to be focusing on. And for those of you who are watching, I'm asking you to call your legislators and make sure that they're focused on those, that they're having conversations where they say, don't bring this ridiculous bill to the floor. Let's focus on bills that improve the lives of Oklahomans rather than trying to control the lives and the decisions of Oklahomans in their personal lives. You guys have a great weekend. I'll be back here Monday at 4:15, and make plans to join Scott on the Hamilton Report at 6:30 on Monday, where he's going to have Arnold Hamilton. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.